Evening and welcome to tonight's red-soaked broadcast. My name is Jeff and I will be your host for this evening, even though I already said good evening. What's up, guys? How are ya? Welcome to tonight's show. I said that already. We're doing a top 5 episode. We got our friend Robby Bloodshed in the house. He's waiting in the digital green room right now as I go, oh, got to turn off the Wi-Fi here. I have this new habit now. I have to turn off all the Wi-Fi in my house or else my computer freezes up when I go live. It's terrible. I really need to do an upgrade. Oh, my God. And I see that Kevin Von Spurs once again also streaming live at the same time as we. I hate it when that happens. I don't like to stream at the same time as my friends. So I'm glad you're doing that, Kevin. You're awesome. He's doing his thing. We're doing our thing. Yeah, so tonight we're going to bring Robby in. We're going to do a little top 10 action. We have a special theme, so we're kind of like tying this in. We're tying this in all together. It's going to be really good. Good evening, Kevin. Good evening, Armand. Is that how you say that? I don't know how you say that. Almond 2112. And yeah, let's bring Robby out now.
Hey.
Hello, Robert.
What's happening?
Does anybody call you Robert?
Just when I'm in trouble, I get called Robert.
Robert.
Exactly. You sound like my girlfriend when you do that. So,
does your girlfriend call you Robert when you're in trouble?
Yeah. If I do,
holy shit!
Wow, that's the only person I think.
Tell me, when I'm this far away from the mic, do I sound okay? Because yesterday I was just
good.
Overloading. I choke up on the mic too much, man. I'm realizing that. I gotta.
No, sounds clear.
Yeah, I gotta let it breathe a little bit. You know, that's what. So, how did the show go in the city? You guys, you played with Voice of Doom down in Manhattan. How was it? How did everything go?
It was such a blast. It was one of those times where it's like, it was a very small place, but there was a bunch of friends there, so it seemed like you were playing to fucking
right.
MSG. But it was so much fun because it's one of those things. I'd rather play to like 100 people than to fucking 500, but all of those people are your friends. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And everybody there, it was just like a big friend get together almost. You know what I mean? And it just so happened music. Those are the best kind of shows, you know?
Those are very fun. And I felt like the VFW was like that too.
Exactly.
You know? So
that even the black, life happens. But even that the Black Friday show that we did last year with Morning
Noise, yeah, I was at that one too. That was a lot of fun. Those were very close together. Those are good times. Those are good fun times. Sure. You got to do another VFW thing. That's fun. That's a lot of fun.
We tried, and
oh really?
They tried to price gouge us.
Oh, like, is that why it's not happened?
That's why it didn't happen. Is they tried to charge like triple of last year, and I was like, what? And then I sent what, like kind of like the contract we had last year, and they're like, oh, that's crazy that they got away with that. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not paying that much for a VFW. You know what I mean?
They really they probably thought they could make more money, and they should have just allowed it to, have a couple shows go by and just like, build it up. What's up? Rue Morg is in the house. How are you, Rue?
Saw Rue on Saturday.
Yes, I saw the pictures of you guys, and it looked awesome. Just looked like a great time. John Steele says the VFW very fucking way overpriced.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I guess that's what VFW stands for this day and age. And it's just the way. So let's not beat around the bush here. You sent me, every once in a while I get something from Robby. He always is sending me this awesome stuff. And the thing I love about when Robby sends me something he always decorates it in the best way. I saved some of his packaging because it's just, he spends all that time on it and I feel terrible just throwing it away. I just think it's really nice. It's nice and creative and fun. So I try to hold on to that stuff. I'm going to cover our addresses so nobody can, find out. Let me see if I could sort of balance this here, blocking this out. This is what Robby sent me. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he like spray painted on it. And on the back, it says pig turtles.
I forgot.
Yeah, he wrote pig turtles on the back. I don't know why. Oh, I do know why. I do know why. Those fucking pig turtles. I don't have a switchblade handy dandy. You should always have a sharp blade, like ready to slice and dice at all times. I'm sure Glenn Danzig would agree with that sentiment. We got Tanner's here. Hi, Tanner. So yesterday, if in case you missed it, you might have avoided it on purpose. I did a very long, in-depth review of Jerry Only's new solo effort.
Oh, you did? I did.
And well, I was speaking generally to the audience, but I guess I'm speaking to Robby as well. Yes, I did a show yesterday. Go watch it. If anybody has 2 hours they want to kill, and here's some very detailed minutia, there's your show right there for you. But what I wanted to ask Robby, I figured since I have you on the air, what did you think of? Have you listened to it yet? What did you think of it? Did you give me some thoughts and opinions, please?
Well, here's the thing. I'm glad he called it Jerry Only.
Me too.
I thought that was cool rather than calling it the Misfits. You know what I mean? And obviously, probably he can't now. You know what I mean?
Definitely can't now. He would if he could.
Yeah. It's just the music production's really good.
Okay. I agree.
The lyrics, I can't really I don't relate with them. I guess that's
neither do I. Yeah.
I will say this though, the music, it's tight. It's really, it was really tight, and the musicianship is great. Especially on Baby You're So Square. Lombardo's drums, I think Lombardo drummed on that one. They're freaking really cool. Really cool. He had great musicians play on it. There's no denying it. Yeah.
I have to tell you, the best part, by far the best part, that to briefly repeat myself from yesterday, the best part by far was the guitars, man. Those guitars were fucking killer. Number one. Yeah, for sure. Number two, the standout track was Taboo, in my opinion.
That was cool.
I thought, dude, if Elvis was alive, he would cover that track. He would fucking cover that track.
I really like the piano on Anti-Hero in the intro. I thought that was very like
Queen. That was
Queen. Yeah, that was cool. The Fear the Walking Dead, the synth kills me.
I love the synth. Love the synth. Love.
No.
No, I was mad. I was like, I thought there was going to be some saxophone.
No sax. Nobody wants to hear fucking sax.
Yeah, Robby doesn't like sax on his shit. What's up, Chris? Chris the Headhunter's here. Sorry guys, I'm missing some of these comments here. Yeah, okay, so here's my number one feedback. Not feedback, but here's my number one fix for that record. So go and give it another listen at some point. Whenever you're ready to listen to it again. Listen to it at 1.25 speed on YouTube. Speed it up by 0.25, and Jerry's singing improves tremendously. And are you freezing up or am I freezing up? One of us is freezing.
I don't see any freezing.
Okay, maybe it's you. I have to say, all of the songs are well serviced by being played at a quarter of the speed faster. 1.25%. All of them sound even better like when they're faster. So go back, try it again. I've had people agree when they hear it. I thought that was an interesting observation because I'm going, what's bothering me about these songs? Like, what's my biggest beef? You know, what my biggest beef is, I don't know. Would you call this the tempo? It's too slow. It's just too slow.
I feel like almost every song has the same tempo. Like it's that, like it's aside from like a couple, most of them are the same kind of.
It's just too slow, man. Yeah, it's just boom, 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 boom. And then when you speed it up by 0.25, it changes it changes the feeling of the songs. It makes everything better, in my opinion. But I digress. So let's take a look at what we got here. This is in honor of, since we're doing a top 5 dripping red death scenes to accompany the record. So first of all, we got this. What is this? This is a decal. This is cool. This is taken from. So this is like based on a Glenn Danzig flyer during the Cough Cool era. This is super early.
Printed by who?
Printed by Riot Stickers.
There we go.
Riot Stickers is how we roll here. We'll get to Riot Stickers a little bit later, but Robby knows all about the Riot Stickers the way I do, the way we all do at this point. But yeah, so this is a really cool sticker, and like I said, this is based. If you have a copy of Scream With Me, you'll see the vibe that inspired this, and I just love it. It's great. Rue says Jerry definitely got the skills to write good tracks. His vocals are pretty good. It's not, I think that he has a certain register. Jerry has a certain register, and if he stays within that register, he can accomplish singing. And the problem is that he goes outside of that box. He's going super high. He's just too ambitious, man. And it doesn't service him or his songs as a result. So the font here, as you can see on this Robby Bloodshed record, is also, what is this? This is also from the Cough Cool, right?
Kind of, yeah.
It's from early 77. Robby is very influenced by the Misfits, as we all are, in one way, shape, or another. And it's just got a vibe that is reminiscent of that, which is nice. You can purchase this record, by the way. There's a link in the description to purchase the record. And on the back, so what did you do? You got Pony back together. For the crowd who doesn't know, who is Pony? Explain who Pony is.
Pony was Glenn's band before the Misfits with Manny and Stevie Linder from Continental Crawler. That was later, with Mr. Jim.
Come up.
And Charlie Jones, who passed away, who was later playing with Jim as well in Continental Crawler. So I got Manny and Stevie Linder to play on a track that Pony used to cover by Mick Ronson.
What does Pony stand for?
The Prostitutes of New York.
And the Prostitutes of New York, they only played like 1 or 2 shows. They practiced a whole bunch, but they only really did one thing. And it's just amazing to think that all these years later, people, not a lot of people, but some people are still talking about it.
Us nerds, that's who we're talking about.
us nerds. So who did the layout for this record? Was it who did the record for the layout?
So it's actually the same guy who did the Morning Noise EP. So it's his
John
name.
Adu.
No, well, he did the layout, but the artist was this guy named Dumasia from Indonesia.
Oh, right. No, I meant the layout. I meant the actual, like the arranged layout. Like,
that was John from Voice of Doom. He did a phenomenal job.
Because he's so good. He's so good with fonts and layouts. He's so meticulous, man. I really do appreciate. It's an art to be able to do that.
He's so clean with it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's clean. It's legible. I don't know about you, but I like to I muck everything up. I add 1,000 things, and it's like you your eyeballs can't digest. It's hard. There's a special discipline in the restraint. What's up, Dad? We got Dagger Love in the house. What's up? Wait, Crystal Ship was a total surprise. You have Crystal. Oh yeah, you got Crystal Ship on here. I love that song.
Oh, that was a lot of fun to do. That was a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to listening to this. I think I might have heard I have heard a couple of these songs for sure. But I'm very excited to listen to it on the record. I'm gonna list the track listing here. We have side A. You know, I know you are prolific, right? You're a prolific guy. Yeah, could you hold up actually while I read it? You hold it up. Why am I holding it up? You hold it up. There you go. No, closer. It's a little bit glary. Okay, that's good. That's good. So Robbie's just gonna hold that for me. While I read my version. So I have one piece of feedback for you. I think you put side A and side B, and I feel like there's an opportunity there. I always like it when somebody does a play on that. And for whatever your next record is, you got to try and figure out how to weave that thematically into whatever the record is. So instead of like, side wet and, side blood and I don't know, you know what I mean? Like something like that.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
Something like that. For the next one.
Yeah.
Because you're so good with the theme on your record. Dagger, this is Robby Bloodshed's new record. He sent it to me. We're doing a special tie-in promotional show. We're promoting the record by doing a top 5 dripping red death scenes from movies, which we're going to do in just a few moments here. But I just let's go through the track listing first. Then we're going to take a look at what the color is. And apparently, Robbie, these are all randomized. We don't know what we get, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I have no idea what the color is going to be. I'm very excited, actually. So side A, we have 1, Dripping Red, title track. 2, Sirens. I've heard Sirens before. 3, Phantoms. 4, Wet Mains. 5, Dead by Noon, the infant version. And I'm not sure if I've heard this, but I absolutely know what infant version means. And I know the subversive nature for which it signifies, which is another reason to want to own this record. I assure you. Side B is 6. This is an unreleased single of Unchained. Sirens, the single version. So we get we get 2 different versions of Sirens. Robbie, what made you decide to release 2 different versions of Sirens on the same record?
So the A side of the album has no guitars. A side is only bass, drums, keyboards, vocals. Side
Gotcha.
B starts to incorporate a lot of heavy guitars with the keyboards.
So you could put the record down, by the way. Sorry. Go ahead. You can stop it if you want.
So Sirens, we played that out to test the waters on the Dead by Noon tour we did back in May. And everybody was saying that it was their favorite song. So the second to last day of tour, we were playing in New Jersey, and I do all my recording at my house. Well, Mark doesn't play on the A side of Sirens. He plays on the B side of Sirens, a single version. So we recorded it live in the basement, me, Mark, and Alex. And that's that version with guitars and shit like that. So it's different. It's a totally different take.
Right.
And it's
of course.
But it's a different approach completely, because the side B is more aggressive, more like how we did it live, as opposed to the A side. The A side's more atmospheric and shit and keyboard driven.
Nice. That's great, because sometimes it's hard to choose. Sometimes it's like, hey, here's an extra track. It's like putting something a little extra on the record.
And you can only get that version on the vinyl.
Right.
Like this, because the CD version, it doesn't have 3 of these tracks.
Right.
Just,
right.
A little more incentive to grab the record.
Incentivize in general. CDs are, CDs don't have any sort of they don't appreciate in value. That's the best way to put it. They don't appreciate in value the way that vinyl does. So in a way, when you buy a vinyl, like if you were to buy this vinyl from the Bandcamp link down in the description, you would essentially be sort of, it would be an investment as much as it would be supporting an artist or listening to music that you like, because it's only going to appreciate as long as it remains in a good condition. And then we get long lone lane. That, say that 10 times fast. Long lone lane with our buddy, the nicest drummer to ever live on the history of the planet, Mr. Jim Catania. Just salt of the earth, sweetheart of a guy. And what is this? Is this an original track? Is this a cover? What is?
That's an original that I wrote with Jim in mind, and we jammed it out at our friend Jamie, who was also on that one live stream that we did.
Right, Jamie. Yeah, that guy's awesome. Nice guy.
Okay. Good guy. And then I had I had Steve Zing mix that one track. So
nice.
It's pretty,
That's great. And then we get the Crystal Ship, the Doors. If you've never listened to the Crystal Ship, you should just listen to the Doors' first record in general, because it's just literally it's a masterpiece album, top to bottom. There's not a bad sound on that record. Crystal Ship is an amazing song. Break On Through, which is a well-known popular song, might even be almost like a proto-punk track. Oh, yeah. It's a ripping, rocking song in the best way you could imagine. Sure. And the Crystal Ship is obviously, it's more of like a slow ballad, sort of. It's not a ballad. It's just like a slow. What would you call it?
Yeah, no, I understand. It's more like atmospheric, more backseat of it. You know what I mean?
It's a reflective song. It's a reflective song.
We changed it up though on the record. It's more.
You know what? I think I either heard this or I heard Riders on the Storm. Maybe you
heard Riders. You heard Riders. Riders
okay.
was not released.
Right.
I decided against that one. I put Crystal Ship instead of Riders.
That's cool. And then we have the Pony track, which is actually a cover of a Mick Ronson track, and it's called Growing Up and I'm Fine. And that features Manny and Stevie Linder. Stevie Linder is, Manny's great, but Stevie is also a trip, man. And just, also, I don't know if he would call him prolific, but that dude writes songs, man. He wrote a bunch of songs.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know if he's put any of that stuff out, but he should. And there you go. Yeah, he is. I think it's time. Let's look inside now and see what is dripping red. Doo, doo, doo. Okay. I was thinking of Vivid Red.
No, come on. No.
The ghost of Jerry Only haunts this stream. Robby can't escape it. He can't escape it. All right, so we got some cool, we got a harpy on one side. See that? And then on the other side, we have another harpy. We got several harpies. Sirens, sorry. Sirens, harpies, tomatoes.
Similar.
Schlemato. All right, I can't tell what color this is because I'm wearing sunglasses. Maybe I should take them off. Is it gray?
There was a bunch of marbled grays. There was marbled grays and marbled greens.
Okay, this is a green. This is definitely, it's like a mint green.
Yeah, there was a bunch of those. Those came out really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm very excited to play this. I just got my turntable back on upstairs.
Nice.
And I kind of set up like a little writing nook because I can't write down here. There's too much video stuff to video edit. I never get anything done. I never do, I do a lot. I'm a writer, you guys, I don't know, none of you know that about me. I'm a writer. I write a lot. I write screenplays, I write all sorts of shit. I can't write down here. I get too distracted. I need sunlight. So we have my wife, she set up a desk upstairs. I'm having trouble putting this vinyl back in. And we got the vinyl player back upstairs. And I've got a couple of things queued up, and this is going to be one of them. I'm very excited for that. That's going to be fun. Hold on, I can't. Oh my God. The sleeve is killing me right now. Now, tell me something. Why'd you print these up in the Czech Republic in particular? Was there a reason behind that?
I went through this company that I use really almost exclusively for CDs and shit, and they offer vinyl. I guess they outsource it to Czech. I don't know.
Okay. So that was probably that was not a detail when figuring out.
No. Now, there's a bunch of pressing plants in Czech Republic because there's really not a lot in America, and so many of them are backed up, really backed up.
Right, the finals just going through the roof. What's up, Winston? Guys, I'm sorry, I haven't been checking comments. We'll check them in a minute before we move on. Now you, how do you put this stuff out? Because you don't have a label per se, or you have your own label. What do you have? What do you consider what is your thing?
Hey, it's all DIY. It's all DIY, you know.
It's all DIY.
I have my little, you know, I just to have a name under it, Pumpkin Scum Records, but but really it's just DIY. You know, whatever I make in music, I put right back into it.
Do you? But you don't have like but you don't call it like Robby Bloodshed Records or Bloodshed.
No.
You don't have a thing.
I call it Pumpkin Scum Records, but that's
really gotcha. But why? And it's really just for your stuff. You release your catalog and you put out your music yourself. If you had the opportunity to get signed properly, do you think that you would take it, or do you think you would keep doing what you're doing at this point? What
if it was properly? Absolutely. Major thing is like I want to own my music. Like I don't want anybody to own my publishing.
Yeah, and your masters. You don't want anybody to own your masters.
Yeah,
that's just as important.
Yeah, so if you know the deal was right, I would love to. I would love for somebody to put out a record. You know, it's just it has to be the right circumstance. So many bands get ripped off. You know,
I think you've arrived in what you want to do. You already own everything.
Yep, exactly.
I mean,
Cleopatra always treats us very nicely. I will say that they treat us very nicely with More Noise.
That's great. So that's good. But I mean, you essentially you're putting out your own music. You tour on your own. I mean, what else do you churn out music videos like they're fucking, you know, toothpicks? You know, I mean, you're doing it all. So like, what do you need? What do you need anything else for? Apart from
the only thing that a record label would do that I can't is get my vinyl into like every record store. That's the only thing I don't have the connections to do, which I'm sure if I paid, you know, a distribution thing, I just would have to find the right deal. It can happen, but really it's the only thing that I think record labels would offer because you know, anybody could release their stuff on Spotify, iTunes now with DistroKid. You don't need a record label for that. If you're able to make the money back or at least break even, you could put out your own vinyl. You know, so you're gonna have to pay back record labels anyways if they put out your vinyl or they give you an advance. You have to pay back before you even own your own shit. So it's one of those things.
There's no point
unless you know. There's the right deal where they could get it into places that you can't, and they have certain connections that you don't. Then, you know, it makes sense. That's really the only pros.
It does improve your brand to be like, hey, I'm signed by this label. And it does like, it's almost like it's like a blue check mark on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. Dagger Love. You can buy it. There's a link to the Bandcamp right in the description, and you can buy the record right then and there if you like, as Rue mentions here as well. But yeah, it's yeah, dude, it's just like, you know, unless there's something that they can do that you can't. What's the point at this point of even doing it? And frankly, why not? You know, why not even just make a list of all the, you know, brick and mortars, you know, across the country that are like prominent ones, and then just call them up and be like, hey, would you take a couple records?
It's exactly what we're trying to do is like, we gave like 7 records to Generation Records.
Yeah.
Over in Manhattan. Mark is bringing the record to a couple local places in Providence. So like, you know, we're doing shit like that. It's just, you know, it's just all footwork, you know?
Apparently, this one time at band camp, Dagger Love stuck a flute in their pussy. Thanks for sharing, Dagger. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right. With that being said, you want to know what else? You know what else is sticky besides a flute after that practice? You know what else is sticky? What do you think is sticky besides the flute after doing something like that?
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know? I'll tell you. Riot stickers.
Oh, okay. All right.
Riot stickers are sticky. Okay. And we already briefly mentioned Riot stickers. We're doing a special deal right here on the channel with riotstickers.com. Sharpie Riot, CEO of Riot Stickers. He has partnered with our channel. He's the channel sponsor. He powers this channel. He helps keep the lights on. I mean, yeah, kind of actually. And I mean, literally, like, that's why we have Melon Studio, is because of Riot Stickers. So, you know, we're doing a special deal with Riot Stickers. There's no more promo code. You don't use the word name Frumess to get a special deal. Instead, you go to riotstickers.com/Frumess and you can get 1,000 stickers for $79. That's 7 cents a sticker. Okay. You are not going to find a better deal. 7 cents a sticker. You know, Riot, he prints these on vinyl. Okay. He prints them on vinyl. They're waterproof. And he does something that not a lot of other sticker companies do. He puts a UV coating on them. Robbie, you know why there's a UV coating?
Sun.
The sun. Exactly. This prevents the sun from eating away at the image that you have printed on your stickers. So you can get 3-inch by 3-inch stickers, 1,000 of them, 7 cents a piece, or $79 for 1,000 stickers. And I'll tell you something. Sharpie, he's a personable guy. He knows what he's doing. He's always looking out, and he's always supporting independent artists and whatnot in what he does. I mean, truly. Let's play the catchy theme song, and we're going to launch into our list, okay?
Posters and promo cards, there's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads, we can print on shirts, we can print on hats, we can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. We are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
You know what I love about playing that commercial? It allows me to run out of the room real quick and pick up another seltzer. And it's been great. It's been great. Tonight's poison is actually a grapefruit bubbly. And, you know, I'm generally not picky with my seltzer as long as it's flavored. I got the LaCroix. That looks like the limoncello.
That's the best one.
I like my wife loves the limoncello. We drink it often in the house.
Now I'm drinking this one.
The Beach Breeze?
Beach Plum.
Beach Plum, right. Yeah, Beach Plum is great too. Yeah, I just love seltzer, man. It's not good for you, but I'm just kind of like, you know what? Fuck it.
Who says that?
It's not good for you. Allegedly, there's like because it's just not good. You're just not putting all this carbonation in your body. It's not good for you.
You burp it up or you fart it out.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying allegedly it's not good for you. It pisses me off because I drink it like water for the last 10 years.
Bullshit.
I mean, listen, I tried it. If I don't drink this, I'm going to drink soda. So it's like, what's better for me? Drink seltzer or soda? I mean, It's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. Let's launch into the main event of the evening. Again, check out Dripping Red, available down in the description below at Robby Bloodshed's Bandcamp. Click on the link, or you could do it in the side con. Scroll all the way up, you'll see it there. And drink a Truly instead. What's Truly? Is that alcoholic?
It's an alcoholic seltzer, spike seltzer.
I don't drink alcohol, man. I'm sorry. I'm sober, man. I don't drink. I don't got any problem with drinking. I just don't drink personally, so I can't I can't partake. So here's the game that we're playing. It's something that I do with my friend Bob Rose all the time. Bob Rose from thundergrunt.com. We love Bob, and he comes on the channel often. And him and I, we started doing these listicles, right? We started doing these lists together. And it's just a lot of fun. This is the way it works. We come up with the theme, top whatever, top 5 this, top 5 that. And then we each make our own list, but we don't tell each other. It's a surprise that we reveal on air. As of last time we did this, we did top 5. The last one we did, which you can go watch, did at the end of September. We did top 5 third horror sequels. So the third horror sequel in a franchise. We did our top 5 of those. It was a lot of fucking fun. But we added a new rule. Do I remember mine? Yeah, it was Army of Darkness. It was Return of the Living Dead. It was Day of the Dead. It was, oh, fuck, what were the last 2?
Halloween?
No, I did not put Halloween 3 on there, and I did not put Scream 3.
Yeah, they're both.
It was absolutely in my runner-up, but like I was trying to like be a little outside of the box. I'm trying to remember what the other 2 third ones were. I can't remember. I'll text it to you if I remember. But go check out that episode. It's a lot. That was so much fun. But here's the new wrinkle we added to the game. If one of us, because it happens so often, and maybe it's just because Bob and I, our tastes are so alike. Maybe it won't be like that with Robby. Bob and I would constantly have similar ones on our lists. And so they would just cancel them out. We would just talk about it. Because here's the thing. You say what it is, and then you say a little thing about why it's on there. But I have a new rule. The rule is, or the rule that we instilled is, if someone picks your pick, then you have to come up with a new one. So you have to have extra ones waiting in the wings. So we have the same one.
Same movie. If it's the same movie, we gotta boot it.
It's if it's the same, okay. Right? I see. Yeah. Okay. Good. Because there's so many kills in a movie. Okay. Fair enough. If it's the same movie, we gotta boot it. And basically the way it works is, I mean, you can acknowledge that it was on your list, but you just have to come up with something to replace it. And it's not fun. It's not fun. For some reason, you just want to be, you want to be the one that knocks the other person out. At least that was my experience when we were doing it. And that's the fun of the game. So, okay. So it's top 5 and top 5, and top 5 dripping red death scenes. Now we put dripping red in the title because that's also the name of Robby's new album. I was thinking in my head, and I didn't ask Robby this, like, because we were like, does that have to be criteria for the death, or is it just any death? And ultimately I decided it can't be, because that would just be even harder and not possible. Yeah. It's just an adjective to describe death. So, you know, the thing about deaths in movies, they can be shocking. They could be gruesome. They could be unexpected. They could be cathartic and well-deserved. In the case of, you know, if it's a really bad guy, they could be tragic and sad. They come in all different flavors. And what does it do? It can give a character's story arc meaning when they die. Well, you know, I mean, death is death, man, right? It's a fucking death. Death is death. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna start us off. I'm gonna say it is. I'm gonna give a little explanation, and then Robby will do his. And mine are not in any particular order, because that just would be too hard. Bob is a stickler. Bob always wants to do it in exactly 1 through 5. I can't do that. So Bob's not here tonight. Mine are in no particular order, but they are my top 5. Okay. First one, I guess number 5 is Joe Pesci in Casino, at the end of Casino, when that wasn't one of yours, was it?
All right. Now I gotta think. Hold on, give me a second now, because now I
gotta. Yes, yes, baby, yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
You knew that I would pick something like that.
No, I just recently watched Casino. Hadn't seen it in forever, And by the way, we're going to spoil the shit out of some movies. So you just be warned. This is, if you hear the movie title,
30 years old now, 25 years old.
Whatever. We're going to spoil the shit out of it anyway. So here's what's so awesome about, so first of all, I recently rewatched Goodfellas after Ray Liotta died and in his memory. And then I couldn't start Goodfellas and not watch Casino. So I watched Goodfellas, followed it up with Casino, and I hadn't seen, Casino. My father is always like, "Oh, Casino sucks compared to Goodfellas."
No.
He doesn't understand. Casino is just as good as Goodfellas. Is Goodfellas better? Yes, but Casino is just, it's a duology, man. Those are two fucking pillars standing next to each other. And Joe Pesci's death is there's something so cold-blooded and just insanely violent and chilling about Joe Pesci's death and the way that it's done. And I'll tell you something. I watched Casino 100 times on TBS, so I can't remember when I first saw that. I can't tell you. But if you never saw that movie before, if you watch it as like an adult and you're watching it and you see that that's how he goes out, you're just like, holy fuck, I was not expecting that.
The best is that he's narrating it and then he just goes,
it's honestly, it's one of Martin Scorsese's finest scenes that he's ever directed. Absolutely. And Joe Pesci's character, sorry,
House of the Rising Sun playing,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And look, like Joe Pesci's character Nicky, he had it coming. He pissed off the bosses and they buried him and his brother. They did it in the most cold-blooded way. They go out to this cornfield and there's a grave, there's an open space. They're not expecting it all. Because that's in the life of those wise guy mobster guys, you never know when death is coming for you. It just comes. One minute you're doing your Goodfellas business, and the next minute you're in a shallow grave, suffocating next to the bruised body of your brother in his tighty whities, beaten purple and green. And it's terrifying the way that he dies. He's buried alive. He's still breathing, beaten to a pulp and buried alive in a shallow grave in a cornfield. No one will ever know that he was ever there. And that's my number 5. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
No, I'm in the minority.
Yeah.
I, for whatever reason, like Casino a little more.
Wow.
Than Goodfellas. I don't know why. I always did, though. I mean, obviously, I love both. Tremendous amount. Unimmeasurable amount.
Right.
But for whatever reason, Casino, I don't know. I always gravitated just a little more.
Fair enough. Hey, listen, as I said, both are great. Here's the difference for me, the difference between Casino and Goodfellas. I can't watch Goodfellas. I can't watch Casino over and over and over again. Like I've seen Casino, it'll probably be like 5 years, 10 years before I need to watch it again. And
really?
Goodfellas is a movie that I literally, like, if I catch it on halfway through TV, like I have to finish it. Like I'll just watch it over and over and over again. It's like Return of the Living Dead. It's just one of those movies that's endlessly rewatchable. It sucks you in. It's both are very long films, but like Goodfellas, it's just such a long movie and you just keep watching it. And Casino's 3 hours long. They're both great. They're both just tremendous movies. So that's my number 5. Robbie, what is your new number 5?
All right. My new number 5. The death of Max Cady in Cape Fear.
Okay. That's Robert De Niro's character, right?
Yes. When he's fighting with Nick Nolte, and he almost bashed his head in with a rock.
Yeah.
And the tide pulls him, the big river or whatever the fuck. And he's speaking tongues to him while he's sinking. And it's just so, like, the whole movie you're just waiting for him to die because he's such a piece of shit. And finally you see him going out and he's not phased at all. I mean, he's taking,
right. It's his last moments. It's his last moments on Earth.
He had fire blown in his face. You know what I mean? Hit over the head how many times? And he's still going out, just as an animal.
Yeah.
That one I would say is my number 5.
Okay. It's been a minute since I've seen Scorsese's Cape Fear. It's a great movie. Yes, great remake. The original has Gregory Peck from the 50s, which I've never seen actually. So maybe I should do a double feature. Also considered a classic. So funny actually, I was really introduced to Cape Fear from The Simpsons, from Sideshow Bob, and wanting to kill Bart Simpson. That's how I learned about Cape Fear, growing up. Simpsons were a pop culture touchstone for so many children of the 90s, like Pulp Fiction, like all these movies that maybe you're too young to see, and but you see like the parody version in The Simpsons, and so it's on your radar. And I feel like Cape Fear was one of those movies. Number 4. This one is, so I think one of the worst ways to go in general, or one of the most terrifying deaths, on-screen deaths that exists, is being eaten alive. I think that is terrifying. And, there's 2 different ways to be eaten alive. One way is if you're, ripped apart and then eaten alive, but that's essentially you're dying because you've been eaten, you've been ripped apart. Then there's being eaten alive where you're literally swallowed whole, or swallowed and cognitively aware as you are being chewed and digested and swallowed. And that is just like, I can't think of anything more terrifying or more grisly or a better, cinematic death than the director's cut of Little Shop of Horrors, when Rick Moranis, who plays Seymour Krelborn, gets his just desserts. The karma comes a knocking, as he is picked up and swallowed whole by the plant that he grew and raised from a tiny seedling on his own blood. And obviously the plant is meant to be a parable for the dangers of capitalism, of unfettered capitalism, that capitalism will consume all, that perfect capitalism is about growing. It doesn't care about human beings. And what better way to represent that than a green money plant? And so he swallows him up, and it's terrifying, man. And now in the theatrical version, they thought that was too dark. It was directed by Frank Oz, the voice of Yoda, actually. They thought that was too dark. And so what they did was they did a theatrical ending where Rick Moranis and Audrey, the original Audrey, they both survive. It's just kind of a cop-out. It's not true to the story. And so that's my number 4.
That's pretty
Robbie.
All right, I'm not going to go in order now. I'm gonna go for one of the top ones.
Go ahead, because he's afraid that I'm going to take it.
All right, Sicilian Revenge, when Vito Corleone in Godfather 2 kills Don Ciccio.
Okay.
The guy who murdered his mother, his brother, and his father. So that scene is so triumphant when he returns back to Sicily, and you know what I mean. He asks for his name, and he says, Andolini, and then he slices him up the gut. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. You know what I mean? The guy's, he's Don Ciccio's all decrepit. He's old. He's sitting in a wheelchair, and he just, you see the whole
guts him like a fish.
It's so good. You know what I mean? You're waiting for it too when you see it. Like, you're, oh shit, like, let's go. Yeah, you know what I mean?
He guts him like a fish.
I love it.
No, that's good. That's good. I've only seen The Godfather Part 2 one time, and I don't even remember that scene.
You got to watch that. I think Godfather 2 is the best. Is easily the best.
A lot of people say that. I personally, you mean the best, better than Godfather, or the best gangster film?
Oh, no. Well, it's a contender for one of the best gangster. It could be number 1 for gangster film.
For me, it'll always be good. Goodfellas is the GOAT.
I don't know. It's
dope, baby.
definitely it gives it a run for its money for sure. I would watch that, man. I would watch. You don't even need to technically watch Godfather. I mean, you should watch Godfather 1 because there is certain things, that you understand better in 2.
I'm due for a revisit for sure. Yeah, Dan brings up a great one. Scarface is I mean, forget about it, right? Like Scarface. But Scarface is obviously a gangster movie, but when I look at Scarface, I don't really think about it as much of a gangster movie as it is like it's like a modern Greek tragedy. That's what I think of it as.
Perfect way to describe it. I don't really think of it as a gangster film either. I mean, obviously it is.
It is, but yeah.
Yeah, Greek tragedy is a perfect way to describe it. It's a Greek
tragedy. It's like a modern, in the same way that like Pumpkinhead and Castle Freak are modern Universal horror films, or 80s Universal horror films. I say Scarface is a modern Greek tragedy. So, there's a lot of modern Greek tragedies, but matter of fact, you know what you should watch? I recommend this to everybody here, including you, Robbie. The remake of Nightmare Alley, which is a film that was Johnny Ramone's favorite film. The original's with Tyrone Power. It's a film noir. It was remade by Guillermo del Toro last year. It was nominated for Best Oscar Picture. So he was nominated 2 years in a row for the Best Oscar Picture, GDT. And it's a tremendous remake. I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's streaming on Hulu right now. I think everybody should go watch this movie. It's the best. Okay, so for my what is that? My number 4. It's not actually number 4. Okay, this is a bit of a deep cut, and I hope that everybody has seen it. And if you have not seen Martin by George Romero, you should stop now. Have you not seen it, Robbie?
No, I've never seen it.
Fuck.
Never seen it.
Oh, damn you. I can't say. I can't do it then because
I won't remember. Remember.
Nope. I refuse. It's so good. It's such a good ending that I can't. No, I'm changing it right now. I have to change it. All right. I'm just gonna go. This is kind of annoying to me, but all right. The T-800 in Terminator 2.
Okay.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger reprises his role as the T-800. What James Cameron always does in an outstanding way, he's got a track record for this. So I'm looking forward to Avatar 2 because he has a track record. He's done this with Aliens and he's done it with Terminator. He knows how to take an idea that already exists or that he created, and he knows how to elevate it and tell the story in a bigger way, expanding on the mythology, doing something just different and awe-inspiring. So we get this really contained story, slasher, sci-fi story, because the Terminator is a slasher movie when you really think about it. Really like high concept, low budget story in Terminator, in the same way that, and then he does a bigger scope for the movie by bringing in a second robot from the future and turning the antagonist from the first film into the protagonist. So the bad guy becomes the good guy. I mean, that's like, you just don't see that in movies. And in the Aliens, I mean, we went from this unstoppable killing machine in Alien to establishing, they're a hive and there's a queen, and this whole going from a haunted house in outer space to Vietnam War, Space Marines going into their own Vietnam War on LV-420. The guy knows how to do it. And so he does it in Terminator 2. Such a fucking phenomenal film. And he makes us fall in love with the bad guy from the first movie. We fall in love with Arnold. We love him. He's the best, dude. He's slowly learning how to, he's sort of learning how to be human bit by bit. And the kid, John Connor, is like showing him how to be human or establishing this bond. And then at the end of the movie, he does the most heroic and brave thing in the world. And it's easy for him to do because he's a machine, but it doesn't make it any less, scary or, sad, because for him, he's a machine. There's no soul. There's no nothing, if you believe in that shit or not. He knows that he is literally lowering himself into oblivion to save humanity, because they can't have any trace of the machine, of the technology. So he has to destroy himself. Otherwise, he could have just lived in peace with the Connors, right? Like, I'll live out the rest of my 120 years in my car battery, and that'll be good. It'll be a good life. And he's like, no, I gotta do it. So he says, lower me into the lava, and the kid's attached to him, and he does it. Not only does he do it, he gives him a thumbs up while he does it, and he lowers himself in. Here's the thing about bravery, and I guess it extends. Maybe it's easier to do when you're a machine and you don't have like emotions in this way. Bravery. Here's the difference between bravery and fearlessness. Fearlessness is not being afraid of anything and going out and doing something and not being afraid, period. Bravery is being afraid, but doing it anyway because you have to, or because it's the right thing. And that's the difference between bravery and fear. And I think that in that moment, you have this machine showing the utmost bravery, and perhaps because he's a machine, but bravery nonetheless. He's an aware machine. We're all trying to, what's it called? Not survive. We're all thinking about self-preservation on some level. And then he does that thumbs up, and it just, do you have anything you want to add on that?
No, you summed it up perfectly.
Okay. So that's my number 4. Your number 3.
All right. Let me look at the list here. Okay. Death Proof. I know you don't like Death Proof.
Oh.
No, shut up.
Go ahead. What is it?
You don't think that the death scene when stuntman Mike kills Arlene, Jungle Julia, Shauna, and Lana, when he drives directly into him, and Jungle Julia's leg chops off, goes flying.
Up. Okay.
The tire peeling off Arlene's face. I mean, it's amazing. Come on.
Finish. No. Is that all you have to say about it, or I'll tell you what I feel about it.
I think that, and especially the graphics on it are incredible for it.
You like the death scene. You just like the death scene in Death.
No, I love the movie itself,
right?
But I love the death scene in there. I mean, even the death scene at the end when they kill Kurt Russell, they just put the boot right in his face. Yeah, it's awesome. And I'll say this. All right. I always pick up this during that movie. There's a lot of people in horror movies and shit like that, and even thrillers and stuff like that scream. And it's never truly believable, usually. Kurt Russell, he gets shot, and he pours the alcohol on his arm, has the most believable scream, I think, in Hollywood. By far. It's so intense, his yell when he's when he pours the alcohol on, it's so believable. He's phenomenal. I mean, I love that scene, but I think the death scene in that is fucking awesome.
Here's my first of all, it's been over 10 years since I've seen any of, and
you gotta revisit. I
gotta revisit. I'll revisit. I will. Everybody's been telling me to revisit Death Proof. I hated it when I saw it in theaters. Mind you, let me just explain. This was my experience seeing Death Proof in the theaters. I was first in line at midnight to go see Death Proof when it came out. And, Death Proof is part of Grindhouse. Grindhouse is over 3 hours long. And so we're sitting through, we're now a movie and a half in to, it's like early in the morning. We just spent all this time building up these characters, right? And then what does Quentin do? He kills them all and then does a 10-minute dialogue scene establishing brand new characters.
That's balls.
After 2.5 hours. it lost me. I was like, this is fucking stupid. I hated it.
You gave away though what ticked you off. I'm not. Grindhouse is okay. It's okay. But I don't watch them together ever. They don't have anything really. I mean, there's one scene,
yeah,
but they really have nothing to do with one another. I understand it's supposed to be like double feature.
No, but that's the concept, was that it was two movies
I never watched it together. I don't.
That when I revisited them separately. And I know that Death Proof by itself, there's like the extended version, it's even longer. It's the structure of Death Proof is unconventional and in a way, self-indulgent in a way that just does not work for the storytelling, especially with a Grindhouse movie, to be honest. Now, I know they do the missing reel bullshit, and it's, as a goof, as like a homage to like Grindhouse movies where it's missing a reel and using it as a plot device to sort of skip over some stuff that wasn't important anyway. But effectively setting up characters and then killing them and introducing us to new characters is a trope that works well when it's structured properly. Look at Psycho. We think we're with the same person. We're with Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. We're with her for the first act of the movie, thinking that she's the main character, and then she's killed. Drew Barrymore in Scream, same thing. We establish her, she's killed in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and we're brought in with a brand new set of characters. It's valid, but what doesn't work is that you're doing it in the middle of the fucking movie, and it's like essentially you have two short films. I mean, you don't because you've stunt Mike, but
I enjoy the buildup of it because it gives you a background on Mike, but it also makes you wonder what's going to happen in the second plot. You know what I mean? Because you know that he's going to go after these girls, so it makes you wonder. You know what I mean? What's going to happen?
I have to revisit the movie. I have to watch it with. I'll tell you this: the last time I watched it, it was before I made a feature film, so I need to really rewatch it. And because I got to tell you, after putting together like a feature film, I feel like there's so many movies that I watch with different eyes. It just changes the way that you look at things. And I need to, when I saw that movie, I saw it in 2000. I think I saw it the last time I watched it was 2010, actually. So it's been about 12 years.
Does time
that uninterested?
Does time in movies affect your opinion on it? Like,
sure. There are movies all the time that I revisit. There are movies, absolutely. There are so many movies where, like I was talking the other day, I've seen Street Trash probably about three or four times now, and I've watched them at all different times in my life. I watched it as a teenager, I watched it as a young adult, and I've watched it as, a 30-something. Mm-hmm. And every time I watch that movie, I see it in a completely different light, in a completely different way. And that's why it's worth to revisit things. And that's why, revisiting things as an adult, revisiting things as a father, like there's so many different ways that you could revisit a movie. I'm so deeply affected by movies that like where bad shit happens to children now because I'm a dad. Like it didn't affect me before. So it's like, yes, the answer is yes, overwhelmingly.
Yeah. That's like Once Upon a Time in America. I've watched, like the director's cut and then the new restored version, which is even like an hour more long.
Wow.
I love it. The time of it doesn't
you don't feel it. You don't feel it.
No, I don't. I think I really wish we would get the Sergio Leone complete version of it because it still has never been.
That's his final film, right?
Yes, that was his final film and he wasn't happy with it. You know what I mean? When it came out.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
If I hope one day, because I know Scorsese, he restored it. He was behind with, I forget what company, they took the original tapes and they made it, they preserved
they remastered it. They restored it.
And Scorsese helped recut some of it and added some scenes that were not in the original release. But I would watch the full Sergio Leone, you know, because there is certain things that don't make sense. You know what I mean? That I think would be fleshed out better if they just.
I saw it one time in college, and I don't remember. It did not. I didn't even know what was going on.
That's one you should rewatch as well. That's one of my favorite films. It's just so you grow so attached to the characters, and like it's really heart wrenching, and some fucking really brutal scenes in there, like really brutal, like rape, you know, crazy fucking like rape scene and crazy deaths. Like it's a fucking phenomenal film. It's definitely not for the lighthearted. You know what I mean? It's fucked up, but I would watch an entire Sergio Leone cut of that if it was around.
That was your number. Are we at number 3, right? That was your number 3?
Death Proof, yes.
Okay. My number 3, since it was already said in the comments, I might as well just say it. My number 3, I think Dan mentioned it, and I think Rue mentioned it, is Jaws. It's Quint's.
Which one?
Quint getting eaten.
Okay.
Quint getting eaten in Jaws. Was that one of yours?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Quint getting eaten in Jaws. And it's one of the greatest on-screen deaths, cinematic deaths ever. It also is a death by eating. And yeah, Dan, I'm sorry. I saw you post it. I didn't want to say anything because it was on my list. I was like, should I swap it out real quick and not tell Robbie? But like, it's Jaws is like, it's just such a great movie. It works on so many levels. It is a horror movie. It is a monster movie. It is an adventure movie. It's also it's also very much a retelling of Moby Dick, actually. And a lot of people don't really really talk about the Moby Dick aspects. You know, some people say that Quint's speech about the USS Indianapolis in World War II, which was absolutely based on a real true story, the US Indianapolis, which was also turned into its own film featuring my guy Nicolas Cage, which I have seen, basically, and was supposed to be the plot, was going to be the plot in Jaws 5. There was going to be a prequel, Jaws 5. They were going to do the USS Indianapolis. Quint talks about when they're all getting to know each other. He talks about how the Indianapolis was torpedoed and they were all in the water for days, bleeding into the water, and they were just swimming with tiger sharks. And he goes something like 500 men go into the water and only come out. And it's true. It's a true story. Like just hundreds of men were eaten by sharks in the water, waiting to be picked off. And Quint tells this story and he gets really personal. The speech is written by John Milius, who also directed Conan. He co-wrote Apocalypse Now. He's a iconic filmmaker. He's part of the new Hollywood in the 70s with George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, Brian De Palma, all those guys. Milius was one of them. And Spielberg called up Milius. He's like, this scene isn't working. Can you write some war-centric dialogue? And so he did that. And then Robert Shaw, who's a playwright, he goes, this is too much. It's too long. And again, what's considered to be one of the greatest monologues ever delivered in the history of cinema, the Indianapolis speech by Robert Shaw, who did it the first time. He did it stinking drunk, and it was not good. And he begged Spielberg, can we do it one more time? He did it bone sober, and that's what's on screen is him doing it bone sober. He was drunk the whole shoot, but he sobered up for that one thing to do it. And he talks about how when he's in the water, he made a vow that he would never get back into the water with a shark ever again because he saw his friends get eaten. He talks about how evil sharks are. They have these black eyes like a doll or whatever. So then, of course, what happens is they hunt this great white. As they put the yellow barrels, which are supposed to drown the shark, you're bringing the shark to the surface. It gets tired. Sharks have to move all the time. If they can't move, then they drown. Not drown in water, obviously, but they asphyxiate. And so Robert Shaw realizes that Quint realizes I'm not dealing with any normal shark here, and we're probably not going to come out of this alive. So what does he do? He smashes the radio so that they can't call for help, and he goes further out to sea, luring the shark out, knowing that he is on a death trip. And he starts singing a song that he talks about in that speech. He says, farewell, Spanish ladies. And what he's doing is he's basically, that's a sea shanty for his death. And what happens is, as Robby knows, as anybody who's watching knows, who's seen Jaws, fucking that the shark eats him in the nastiest, most brutal way you can imagine. Just legs first, so that Quint knows he's being eaten alive by a shark, and he cuts at it with a machete, and it's no use, and there's blood coming out of his mouth, and it doesn't, that shark didn't work for shit. Shark only has 4 minutes of screen time in a 2-hour movie, Jaws, 4 minutes. And one of the most effective scenes in the world is this death of Quint. What it means from a Captain Ahab standpoint in Moby Dick, what it means for the movie, what it does, in this sort of monstrously entertaining way. Just the goat. Do you anything you want to add to that, Robby?
No, it's really, it's a really crazy scene. There's 3 animals in this world that are just terrifying to think you could be eaten by. And the 3 are great white sharks, any kind of real big shark, tiger shark, grizzly bears, silverback gorilla, and not eaten, but murdered.
Yeah, murdered.
Silverback gorillas could tear you apart in just like that. With
chimpanzees. Chimpanzees too.
The Travis the chimp up in Connecticut ripped off that lady's fucking face
and ate it like a pizza. He did.
It's crazy.
Have you seen Grizzly Man?
No.
Holy shit! Is
that a recent film? I never.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, you don't know anything about it?
Never heard.
Okay, do me a favor. Do me this favor. As soon as we get off this thing, or as soon as you're ready, next time you watch TV to watch a movie, put on the documentary Grizzly Man.
Grizzly Man. Okay.
I'm going to text you it. I will give you a link. It's streaming. It's streaming legally, obviously. I think it's on like Tubi TV.
I have Tubi. Yep.
Go watch this movie. And the fact that you don't know what's going to happen. Holy shit. You have to see this. You have to see, especially because you just said all that, what you just said. Let me ask you one other question. Who would win in a fight, a grizzly bear or a silverback gorilla?
It's grizzly bear. It's not even a question. Grizzly bears are so much bigger than gorillas. So much bigger, so much more powerful, and their the reach alone.
Well, the swipe. If you have one swipe from a paw of a grizzly would take out the gorilla. But let me ask you this. Gorillas are agile. And let's say that the biggest silverback gorilla.
So are grizzly bears.
Okay, the biggest silverback gorilla gets on the back of a grizzly bear. Who you still think the grizzly bear is going to take it?
Absolutely.
You don't think that gorilla is going to crush his skull with his fists?
No.
Wow.
Because there's certain guns that can't even break through a skull of a grizzly bear. You know what I mean? You have to use real. It's just. It's fucked up, but I've looked into this so much because I'm here. It's a weird thing I've looked into.
Please watch Grizzly Man. Please watch Grizzly Man. It's like all I'm going to say is this: a guy who lived among grizzlies and recorded hundreds of hours of tape of him living with grizzly bears.
I think I've heard of this.
That's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want to say anything else. Watch this movie.
Was he with a partner as well?
Yes.
Okay, I've heard of it now that you say. I didn't know the title of it. I've heard about it. I haven't watched it though.
You have to watch this movie, and I've looked into the grizzly bear versus silverback gorilla, which has fascinated me to no end. I'm always rooting for the gorilla, even if the grizzly would win.
I love gorilla. I love all apes. You know what I mean? I love. It's always been a fascinating. You're one of my favorite animals.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When going through like the stats of like who could take who, one of them is like there's like this account from the 1800s of like a prospector or something like out in the West who saw a moose get its head taken off by a grizzly bear with one swipe.
It's insane. There's
you know how big a moose is? You know how big a moose is? They're big.
There's
with
no
one swipe, the head went flying off the moose.
Incredible.
They can run 35 miles per hour.
You know how scary that would be?
35 miles per hour.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God. Black bears are a completely different species to grizzly bears. It's basically as if you would compare like a golden retriever to a wolf. You know what I mean? It's not you can't compare a black bear because a black bear, they say you're supposed to put your arms up, scream, make yourself look like a predator because they would rather, they're flight animals. They'll go into a tree. Grizzly bears don't give a shit. They see
grizzly bears don't care. They're like your lunch.
Yeah, exactly. That and polar bears as well. I don't know who
polar bears are the most ferocious, and they're breeding with grizzlies now because they don't have any food. And there's a movie, I've heard about this. It's directed by Elizabeth Banks. It's called Cocaine Bear, and it's the true story of a bear that got a hold of cocaine.
Oh my God!
And got really high and then went on a rampage or something.
Oh my God!
All right. Let's move this. Let's keep this train moving. We're on number 2 now. No. I did my third. My third was what?
No, I got to do my third.
Sorry, you do. Sorry, go ahead. Do your third.
All right. Nick from The Deer Hunter.
Okay.
When at the end where they're doing the Russian roulette because Nick never returned back from the war, and Robert De Niro's character goes and tries to seek out his best friend, and he finally finds him because he heard there was an American that would do the Russian roulette, and it was him. And they had him all strung out. They had him doped up, and he was gone. He was far gone. Even if Robert De Niro brought him home, he was never going to be Nick that he knew back in small town Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? He was so far gone. But really what grabs you is when he says, like one shot. He remembers going hunting with him and John Cazale's character. And he remembers, you know what I mean? The good times back before the war. And that grabs you so fucking hard when when Nick he loses the game, against Robert De Niro. He loses it. Are you a fan of Deer Hunter?
I've seen it much like The Godfather 2. I've seen it.
Oh my God, you're killing me.
Yeah,
Jeff.
Listen, here's the truth, man. Like I am a cinemaniac. I watch lots of movies all the time. As I said, I just referenced that I watched Nightmare Alley, film noir from 1947. Or I just watched Mystery of the Wax Museum from 1933. Like I watch all sorts of shit, but like things that are regarded and heralded as classics. I don't, I'm not like eager to seek them out. I watch them when the opportunity is right. I only recently saw Chinatown for the very first time when it was playing at the Alamo about 3 years ago. And I also only recently saw The Exorcist about 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, all the way through. I had seen. And just this year, I watched The Exorcist 3 for the first time. Although that's not regarded as a classic the way The Exorcist is. My point is that I definitely watch great films, because I hear that they're great. But, I'm just on my own little journey. I realize that I'm never going to be able to watch all the movies in the world. So I try to watch, the two things I try to do is, one, there's some movies that I can compulsively watch over and over again. And if I'm in the mood, I will. But I just, I'm always trying to watch something I've never seen before. And I'm always trying to watch something that I find interesting, that's worth an investment of my time. I used to watch movies and stick with it, even if it was really shitty. And in the age of streaming, I was like, dude, life is just too fucking short. So I'll cut tail if it's not panning out. And I've done that, I'm not proud of it, but I used to like pride myself in starting and finishing all sorts of movies. And that's just because I know I'm never going to see every movie there ever was, but I'm trying to watch them all, and I'm in no rush. So, like when I get to something, I get to it. And I always get shit. People always give me shit. Mandy is a movie that I have watched 5 or 6 times since it came out, and it's not just because it's Nicolas Cage. It's because I'm in awe.
Yeah.
I am in awe of the filmmaking in Mandy. But that's neither here nor there. Which also has some good deaths in it.
See, your guy's Nick Cage, my guy's De Niro. I think I've watched almost every single De Niro film.
That's great. That's great. I love De Niro too. You're gonna see he's in some new direct-to-TV video.
No.
Direct-to-TV movie.
What movie?
I forget the name, but it made the news because it had 42 producers on it, which is not a good sign. God. Yeah.
The new one that I saw is coming out with him is Amsterdam. I want to see that. I don't know.
Oh yeah. That was playing at the Alamo, and I didn't catch.
Names in that. Margot. Margot.
Robbie.
Robbie. Rami Malek.
Chris Rock was in that too, right?
Yeah. There's a bunch of Bobby Cannavale.
Yeah, I missed it, man. It was during horror month. I only saw one movie that was not a horror movie because it was such a limited run. I was like, I can't miss this. It was The Triangle of Sadness, which was a Draft House recommends, and I had to see it. So I saw that.
I never heard of that.
Really, really good. Check it out. Everybody check out Triangle of Sadness. It took the wife. We finally got to see him. We went on a date and saw a movie, and God knows how long. It was awesome. All right, so that's your number 3. I did my number 3. We're on to our number 2, and it's my turn. Let me look at my list here. I have a couple of honorable mentions as well, but I won't do full dissertations on them. Although maybe not, because I actually decided not to do whatchamacallit. Okay. So the death of Ripley in Alien 3 is my number 2. A lot of people hate Alien 3. I love Alien 3. Oh, Alien 3 was on my threequel list. Horror threequel list. That was on there for sure. Alien 3, it's a great threequel, man. It really, really is. It goes in a completely different direction. I love everything about it. But what's great, and without getting into another long-winded dissertation like with Jaws, what's great is that Ripley's overall character theme in that original quadrilogy of movies is about being a mom, being a mother, or in the first one, it's pseudo non-existent. The Nostromo has a computer on board called Mother, and Ripley. So in a way, it's symbolic of Ripley's mother. And here is Mother abandoning her children to be RAPED'd by a creature against their will and forced to give birth to something that they don't want to do. In the sequel, we find out that Ripley had a child who, because Ripley had been in space, she grew up and died before Ripley was rescued. 56 years she was lost in space. And then Ripley adopts Newt, who loses her family on LV-426 and takes on the alien Queen Mother, and goes toe to toe with another mother, and get your hands off her, bitch, that sort of thing. And then in Alien 3, again, she loses that child because Newt dies in the opening of Alien 3. She loses that child and gains a new one because she becomes impregnated with an alien queen. And it kind of completes her arc because she, when forced to reckon with a child that she does not want, chooses death of her and her baby. I say that in quotation marks, over dying in childbirth if the chest burster was going to rip her open, which it does as she's jumping into this giant fiery chasm. And there's something so beautiful about her death. It's like she chooses to die on her own terms instead of being ripped apart by this alien. And it's like she's free of the burden of dealing with all this shit that she's been dealing with by jumping in. So that's my pick for number 2.
Speaking of Alien, what do you think of Alien vs. Predator?
It's okay. It's fun. I like it.
Fun, right? It's good.
Yeah, it's nothing bad. It's great.
I remember when I was a kid, I saw that. I thought it was a fun movie. A lot of people give it shit. Just because,
a lot of people give it shit, man. I like Alien 4 too. I like Alien Resurrection, man. I love the Alien movies. Alien VP and Alien VP Requiem kind of, the Requiem one is kind of goofy, but Alien versus Predator is just a fun Dark Horse comic book come to life. There's nothing wrong with that. Love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah.
I agree. Totally.
What's your number 2?
All right. I think I changed it because I had another one that I'll do as an honorable mention because there's nothing really to it. It's just funny. It's fun. So this is a little more serious.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Seth from the 1986 Fly. Brundle.
Oh, yeah, dude. Good. Oh, shit. Good pick.
When Gina Davis puts him out of misery. Oh, God.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
That kills you because, you love Seth. You know what I mean? He's funny. He's nice. And, you know what I mean? When he's in his final transformation of the Fly, you're like, holy shit, let's put this poor prick out of his misery. You know what I mean? Like, it's terrible. And then he's asking her to kill him because he knows what he wants to do. He's the Fly inside of him is gonna grab her, put her inside, and become human. You know what I mean? But
insect politics.
Insect. For 1986, that probably is the best graphics. I would say one of the best graphics, easily.
The special effects are incredible.
Yeah. I mean, everything. I mean, the practical effects of just the Fly itself. You know what I mean? The best.
Another Greek tragedy. It's a Greek tragedy.
Absolutely. I mean, that scene is a heart killer. You know what I mean? When she puts him out of his misery. What doesn't really get what you don't, if you only see it once or you're not really paying attention, what's not you particularly, I'm saying, like, if someone doesn't realize he fuses with the other pod the last time he does the transformation, which is so crazy. So that when he's in that state that he asks her to put him out of his misery, he's got like machine bits, like shrapnel has been merged into his body and he's like dying, Did you ever see Fly 2?
I love it. Love the Fly 2.
That is the saddest.
So sad.
With the poor dog.
Yeah, with the dog. The Fly 2, Fly 2 is a really good sequel. Yeah, people hate on the Fly 2, but the Fly 2 is a great example of a horror movie that ends with a wonderful happy ending. It actually has a happy ending.
Yeah. And I like happy endings. I'm a sucker for them. I always want to see, you know what I mean?
it has a feel-good ending after the sadness of the Fly. So in a way, it kind of helps to watch the Fly 2 after watching the Fly because it lifts you up because you just really need to step out into sunshine and let the warm sun shine on your face after you watch the ending of the Fly because it's just so sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude. Dan says the Mel Gibson at the end of Braveheart is brutal. Careful. If John of Doom hears Mel Gibson's name, he will explode. John of Doom hates Mel Gibson. Hates him. I mean, listen, I have plenty of reasons not to like Mel Gibson.
You definitely have some reasons.
But I do love Mel Gibson's movies, so I always compartmentalize his anti-Semitic bullshit because
the only movie that matters with Mel Gibson is fucking Chicken Run.
What do you mean, Mad Max, bro? Come on, fucking Lethal Weapon, Payback. Talk about good gangster movies. Payback. If you've never seen Payback, so good.
I'm not a big Mel Gibson guy. I'm not. You know what I mean?
Oh man, he's great. I really do love Mel Gibson movies. Apocalypto. Holy shit! I mean, that's when he's directed.
Apocalypto's great.
That's a masterpiece. Masterpiece. Yes, he is a douche. He is a douche. What's up? We have Russell Casually. Oh, John is in the there he is. John says, F that a-hole. There he is. If you mention Mel Gibson's name, John comes a running. And he gets mad. Oh, John, you're great. You're great.
That's funny.
Okay, so that's your number 2. We both have done number 2s, right?
Yep.
Okay. Atanas says the first Hellraiser. Okay. Jody Ramon says Raising Arizona is arguably the best Nick Cage movie. I think it's a great Nick Cage movie. I don't know if it's the best. We did a top 10 Nicolas Cage list with Bob Rose.
What's the best Nick Cage movie?
Man, I don't think there is one. I just think there's so many great. You can't make me choose one, but there are many tremendous Nick Cage performances that I love and worship and admire so much. And yeah. All right, let's do our number 1s. Yeah, Con Air, dude. Con Air is so fucking solid. And Rue, he's awesome in fucking Valley Girl. Love him in Valley Girl. Birdie, he's great in Birdie. Yes, he plays the best friend of Matthew Modine. Okay, let's do the final number 1. This was also mentioned in the chat. That always happens when we do a top 5 list. Somebody calls them out. This isn't like my number 1 because we said mine are in no particular order, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention Captain Rhodes in Day of the Motherfucking Dead when I growing up as a boy, that to me was the best. That was the best death. That was what we always wanted. The money shot, the gore, seeing him ripped apart. Now that, the story, the refrigerator broke. Yeah. Bub goes like this. Choke on him. Choke on him. He says, choke on him. Yeah. Rue. I think it was Rue who said it. Rue who said Day of the Dead. Yeah, dude. Can't deny. This was also on my threequel list. And, yeah, it's just, you can't deny Captain Rhodes just getting ripped. He's just the biggest asshole ever. And you just want to see him. You just want to see him get his torso pulled apart. And those guts come out, and they weren't refrigerated. The refrigerator broke, and everybody's wearing wax like stuff in their nostrils.
Really?
Yeah, the guts were like all rancid and stuff.
Ooh.
And you just can't go wrong with Day of the Dead. It really is. There's so much. The best scene doesn't involve zombies. This is a rehash. I'm not going to say it because we already went through it. But the best scene is actually the confrontation between Sarah and Captain Rhodes in the mess hall. There's not a single zombie. It's a very long scene. Rewatch it keep it in mind next time you rewatch Day of the Dead. It's a great fucking scene. So it just goes to show that George Romero's stuff is elevated beyond just doing, zombie gags and zombie gore and whatnot. And you get these incredible, well-directed scenes. So I guess that's I got to put that at number 1 because I grew up on that one. And yeah, fucking, Return of the Living Dead has some great death scenes too, but like I talk about it so much on the channel, I had to leave it off. What's your number 1?
It's not number 1, but it's in my list.
Right. Yeah. We're right. You're the last one in your list.
All right. So this is more because there's so many good deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
It's always been one that sticks out for me is when Shorty in Killer Clowns knocks the biker's head off.
Yeah.
That is the funniest. What are you going to do? Knock my block off? It's it's one of the funniest fucking deaths. And you see his head in the garbage can. I mean,
yeah.
How could you not love that? You know what I mean? So no, it's nothing really to it. I mean, it's a gag.
It's a gag.
It's a fun death. You know what I mean? It's a
It's a
real fun.
gag. It's just and I understand why. Yeah, but how you say that there's nothing much to it. I get it. I get it. Yes, Terrifier has some nasty deaths in it. I was not Terrifier is not my cup of tea, but I am so happy for that filmmaker who is really like exploding out of the indie horror scene.
You know what's
And
funny with Terrifier is when Chiller, when I was at Chiller on Friday night with Chris Morantz, and we were hanging with Voice of Doom, John and John, and we were online. They were online for John and John.
Tom Atkins.
Yeah, and behind us, this guy comes up to us. He's like, "Oh, you guys seen any good horror movies lately?" You know, we're just like, "Oh no, like I guess not." You know, not. He's like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "I was a producer on Terrifier too," and we're like, "Oh, that's cool, man." You know, and he was just the strangest thing, you know.
Maybe
But I never saw that. I heard it. People keep saying like they're really giving it outrageous reviews. Like it's
got word of mouth going for it.
people are like passing out and
yeah.
Oh, Dan, he freaking took. Look at this. I'm not bullshitting you at all. Dan took one of the death of Julius. I had it written down.
The death of Julius
is also done the Friday 13th of Jason Takes Manhattan when Julius is boxing Jason Voorhees.
Right.
That was my honorable
yes.
mention. That was my honorable mention. Was that death?
See, that's what happens in the comments. Everybody takes. Also, you got Dead Alive, the lawnmower part, just like phenomenal. Can't go wrong with that. I will talk about he ouches his head off. Okay, here's my honorable mention that I did not mention. Oh no, I guess. Oh, okay. I got two real quick. First one is Merciless Ming, played by Max von Sydow in Flash Gordon from 1980. Flash Gordon, you know, which Queen did the soundtrack. Robby loves Queen, but he doesn't like that soundtrack for some ridiculous, strange reason. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how could you not be down with that?
It's okay.
It's okay. It's fucking. It's the best, dude. It's so good. You have Flash Gordon drives a spaceship. He stabs Ming to death with the needle at the tip of a spaceship. The spaceship crashes into Ming's palace room, and the needle of the spaceship goes right through Ming's body. So Flash Gordon, with deadly precision, stabs Ming to death with a spaceship. I love it. It's so great, dude. It's so freaking great, dude. It's awesome. And I'll tell you something, talking about revisiting movies, I'm about to say something super blasphemous. I might catch shit in the comments for this, but I'm just going to say it. 35-year-old Jeff watched Flash Gordon, the Arrow re-release or whatever. And 35-year-old Jeff preferred Flash Gordon to Star Wars A New Hope Episode 4. Because I just think it's the better. They're both similar thematically, and I just had I have such a better time watching.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's a self-contained movie. I don't have to watch 7 movies to like get the whole story. It begins and it ends. Flash is such a great protagonist. He's just like the all-American hero. You just love him, and you got Richard O'Brien from the Rocky Horror Picture Show is in there. You got Timothy Dalton is in there. There's all these interesting, like he has to put his hand into the hollow tree stump to show like his bravery and like how much of a hero he is. It's just great, man. It's great. That's great. And then of course you have the Vulcan, King Vulcan. Gordon is alive. He's just like this who wants to live forever? If you look at Flash Gordon and you look at the Star Wars movies, every single scene in Flash Gordon is represented somehow in a Star Wars movie. And that's 1 2-hour movie versus 10 hours of movie or whatever.
Makes sense.
I mean, I just Flash Gordon, man. And my other one is Super Dark. and blew me away when I saw it in the theater. There's a couple that I could have picked, but I chose this one because it was so shocking and it was so unexpected, and I just could not believe when I saw this. The Mist from 2007.
My God, that's what I was gonna fucking say. I had it as my honorable mention. I'm not.
Did you really?
I had
Did you really?
I had it already up. Swear to Christ.
The Mist, man.
That was one of the craziest endings. I remember watching that when I was a kid because it came out, 2007?
Yeah.
I was 10 years old. And I was
my God.
And it was one of like the we used to get like the bootleg copies that were probably filmed.
Right.
VHS. And I remember I was like, I can't believe this ending. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't process it. That they all, he killed them all. And
kids are not supposed to die, and dads are not supposed to kill their kids.
No, I couldn't. I was like, holy shit. He
said, Dad, promise me the monsters won't get me. I can't watch that movie. I've never seen it since becoming a dad. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it. I don't think I could.
Fucking crazy.
I don't think I could.
Even the scene where they go back to the house and they see, the
mom.
Yeah. Eating, like with all the
spiders,
bugs. Yeah. Whatever the fuck they are. Alien bugs. That's really like.
Did you see now? Have you seen the black and white version?
No, I didn't know there was such a thing.
There is. And the reason why you have to watch it in black and white, and I suppose you could just desaturate your TV to make it black and white. The reason why you have to watch it black and white is because the CGI looks better in black and white. Oh my God. Because the CGI, that was the one thing that took me out of the movie when I saw it was, I go, are you fucking kidding? Are you kidding with the CGI? It was terrible.
I didn't, I guess,
the tentacle eating the dog food. Come on. It's so bad.
So it was a portal into what? It was a portal into a different dimension.
Another dimension. Yes.
And that the army was working on.
Yeah.
That they couldn't control.
Right.
So in the end, though, they say, the army saves, you know what I mean?
That's what makes it so fucked up is that nobody had to die because they all got saved.
I wonder, though, what happened to that fucking crazy bitch at the grocery market. You know what I'm talking about?
She probably got rescued. That was what was so crazy. It's the idea. The whole idea is that by deciding to like leave the supermarket and driving out, and the idea, I guess what is the ultimate theme of that movie? Because who leaves first? Remember the woman who goes out into the mist to go get her children and risks everything.
That's actually, I think, Carol from The Walking Dead. I don't know.
It is. It's Carol from The Walking Dead because Frank Darabont brought her into The Walking Dead because she was one of Darabont's players. As a matter of fact, Carl, no, not Carl. Who's the old guy in The Walking Dead? I forget his name. My God, I can't believe I forgot. Who?
Dale.
Not Heschel. Dale. Thank you. Dale was also in The Mist as well because Darabont wrote and directed that. Now, but what's amazing is that, so Carol goes out into the mist to go and find her kids. And everybody's like, are you out of your fucking mind? And she comes out of it okay because she went out. And so like the parable of like this idea, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And she stares at him. She looks at him. It's so funny too. Cause like after he does it, he like gets out of the car and he like stands there like with his ass hanging out. Like, come on, do me.
That's horrible. That's that's probably one of the craziest endings by far.
It was so dark and grim and unbelievably unexpected. And you just don't think you're watching that kind of movie. There's no Stephen King. That's not the ending of the original novella. That's not how Stephen King, the novel ends where they see the giant fucking creature, the Cthulhu-like thing. They're staring up as they're driving into the unknown mist, and that's the end.
That's it?
That's the end.
No wonder Glenn hates him. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, Glenn hates Stephen King for no reason. Oh, come on.
That's a terrible ending.
I will say Stephen King does have a problem ending some of his books. There's some of them, I've read a lot of Stephen King stuff where I get to the end and I'm like, that's it? I read The Outsider recently, a couple years back. Revival. Okay, Revival was a really good Stephen King ending. Everybody should go read Revival. I think actually it turned into a movie like they did everything else. Jody's saying The Fog was funny too. It's great, man. It's a great movie. One other one, and I'm not going to tell you why. I'm just going to say the movie Miracle Mile. That's it. That's all I'm going to say, because you can't know anything about it. If you know about it, it's not going to have the impact. I saw it at the Alamo. I didn't know anything about it. And by the time that movie ended, let me tell you something. This is the type of effect that Miracle Mile had on me. I was watching that movie. I was holding a seltzer can. When I left the theater, the seltzer can was crushed, crushed in my hand from tension.
Wow.
From not knowing what was going to happen.
Wow.
I've never had such a movie going experience as that. Miracle Mile. Is there anything else you want to mention honorably?
I would say that's on my shirt. And The Mummy Returns. Emoteps.
Robbie loves the Mummy movie. Loves them.
I love that movie. Talk about bad CGI. That's the worst CGI.
Ouch.
But the ending, the whole first movie, he's trying to save a Noxuna or revive a Noxuna moon. And in the second one, he needs her help. And she leaves him and he falls into that pit of hell.
Yeah, he gets forsaken.
And he looks at, Rick O'Connell and Evelyn's, he sees them that they love each other because Evie went and saved him. And he sees the love that they have. And he finally lets go because he realizes he doesn't have a Noxuna moon.
He literally lets go into hell.
Yeah, that's a very brutal death, in my opinion. And then that bitch gets hers because she gets eaten by all those the bugs, the scarabs. She
gets eaten by the scarab. The scarabs take her out. Have you ever seen the original Mummy from 1933?
No, I never seen that.
Well, you should watch it.
In bits and pieces, but never, because if it's on TV and shit like that. But I've never seen it. I guess I never sat down and watched the entire thing. It's
slow, but the plot of the Mummy is taken partially from the original Mummy. That's why you should watch it.
That's my whole thing. I've said this so many times. The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, the 99 version, and then same with The Fly, 86 to the 1950 whatever with Vincent Price.
1956.
Those are perfect remakes because they bring in new dimensions that weren't capable back in the day.
Blob 88 too. Blob 88.
Blob 80, perfect remake.
Thing 82.
Those are remakes that make sense. I wasn't a big fan of Pet Sematary, the remake, because all it did was switcheroo, a couple deaths, and that's it. There was nothing exciting about it aside from it. And it was spoiled in the trailer.
I didn't watch the trailers.
I'm like, how could you put that in the trailer? I was talking about this with Zombie Alex the other day, and we were like, how could you put that in the trailer when it's a huge fucking plot point that that differentiates from the original movie? That's a remake that did not need to happen. There's certain movies like that where it's like, why? Carrie, why? What do you need to remake that for? It just doesn't add a new element.
You have to do, there is something to be said. Blob 88, Fly 86, Thing 82, Invasion of the Body Snatchers 78, are considered, even though that was in the late 70s, those are considered to be like the ultimate gold standard of all remakes. Like they are just what they do is they elevate, they transform. The special effects are awesome, and they have such an impact, and they're endlessly rewatchable. Even Invaders from Mars, Toby Hooper's film from '85, which is a little less known or a little less appreciated as those other ones, also should be included in that paradigm.
It's not technically a remake, as opposed to more true to the original, was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Robert De Niro.
Love. Okay,
Amazing.
this also just came up in conversation with Bob. Love that movie. Always did.
It's so much more realistic than the Universal monster. I mean, even just how they made him look like an actual pieced together man, and just the brutalness of it. You know what I mean? When he's hiding away with that blind old man, and he's he's helping him. It's just everything about it is more heart wrenching, dramatic, scary. It's scary in a sense. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a beautiful. I don't know. Is that considered a remake, or? I mean,
yeah. I mean, Frankenstein is endlessly remade. There's yes, of course, it's a remake, but like we just did a whole show on Frankenhooker, and it very quickly devolved into a conversation about Frankenstein and how Frankenstein is a story that is timeless, that can be told over and over and over again. What's up, Sharpie Riot? We mentioned we were talking about you earlier, buddy. Did a great job on Robby's stickers. Sharpie Riot, CEO of riotstickers.com. Check out that promo, riotstickers.com/Frumess. That's right. You are the bomb. Yes. No, the idea that Frankenstein is this thing, even when I was with Sharpie, I had Sharpie on the show. We were doing May, and we were talking about how May is kind of like Frankenstein too. Frankenstein is like a story trope that you could do over and over again. And Bob and I actually kind of came up with this idea of what we call the Frankenstein trope, which is basically there are three elements to the Frankenstein trope. The first element is you have to create a monster. The monster has to rebel against you. Oh, wait, what was it? It was you create a monster, you cannot control the monster, and the monster rebels. I think those are the 3 points. And there are endless movies out there that aren't horror movies that have the Frankenstein trope. A great example is Rocky V. Another great example is She's All, I think we mentioned She's All That, the teenage movie from the 90s, the 90s movie it has a Frankenstein. No, Jawbreaker. It's Jawbreaker with Rose McGowan. That has a Frankenstein element to it. The Jurassic Park is a Frankenstein trope movie. So it's the idea of science of you have to have a Frankenstein. You have to have a Frankenstein. You have to have the Frankenstein's monster has to rebel, and Frankenstein can't control the monster that's rebelling. Those are the 3 elements. So
makes sense.
What and
speaking of remakes, get off a little bit of Frankenstein, but still in that realm. What are your thoughts on the Wolfman remake with what's his name?
Benicio del Toro. Okay, so before I address that, I have to call out John of Doom right now. So we're saying that No Told 1990 is awful. John, I'm concerned. Did you fall? Were you in the bathroom and like there was water on the floor and you slipped and hit your head somewhere? Dude, No Told 90 is a fucking masterpiece. Okay. No Told 90 belongs with all those other ones. And I'm not going to get into it now because it's a whole fucking thing. But John, you're wrong. And yes, No Told 2 is coming next year. He says, okay, not all. John, I will write you. John, I owe you an email. I have to respond to that Rocky Horror thing. And when I do, I'm going to also write you a small dissertation on why Night of the Living Dead 90 is fucking awesome as well. And it's just fucking great. In terms of the Wolfman remake from Joe Johnston, the guy who directed the third Jurassic Park movie, as well as Captain America, the First Avenger, and some other stuff. Uh-oh. Sharpie Riot really wants to know what Robbie thinks of J.O. Anti-Hero. Ooh!
I got no comment. I have no comment.
You got to go to back, rewind it. We talked about it already, Sharpie. It's at the beginning. Jerry Only we've talked about Jerry Only enough in the last 2 days. It's there. Go just rewind this broadcast. You'll see both of our thoughts in a nutshell. The Wolfman remake is fucking amazing. I absolutely loved it, top to bottom. I didn't see it when it came out. It kind of looked sort of interesting. They had a lot of problems. There was supposed to be all like practical special effects makeup.
That's what I've heard.
And the studio fucked with it, and they ended up doing CGI werewolves, which looked okay. But the story, it was good. It was really good. Yeah. I really fucking loved it. I really did. I was so blown away. I was sad that I didn't catch it in a movie theater.
I saw that when I was on vacation. When did that come out? 08? 09?
2010.
2010. Yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater, and I was like, wow, this is really, intense. I mean, some of the death scenes are fucking great in that.
It's so good. Just everything. Anthony Hopkins, the arc with his dad, and that they're like both werewolves. It's just awesome, dude. I loved it. I love what they brought. Like, that is what a remake should bring to the table.
A lot of people hated on that one, though. That's why I was curious of what you thought. A lot of people hated it, and I always thought it was, it was really good.
I do not understand the hate. That is going to bring us to a close, though, because I have to wake up super early in the morning, and we're about to hit 2 hours. This was so much fun. I loved doing this. Yeah. I love doing these lists. It's such a fun exercise and just doing something really simple and elicits a lot of conversation, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Freaking Drippin' Red is out now. You can pick up the vinyl is the way to go. You can get the CD, but you shouldn't. Get the vinyl. You're going to be happier with the vinyl for a lot of reasons. And, vinyl lasts longer. It sounds better. You can appreciate the art more. And plus,
the
artwork especially. You don't know what you're going to get. You could get a gray. You could get a mint green. Did you have other colors? No red? You didn't have a dripping red?
Unfortunately. See, here's the thing. How that works is it all comes, it's called eco colors. So whatever was left over from other orders, they throw into the pot. That's why there's marbled. There's no two the same.
That's cool.
And
the eco, and that probably expedites the order, right? A little bit. If you're not not by much.
No.
Interesting. Dan says that Robbie's album looks great in person. I was really happy.
Thank you, Dan.
So, and Jody says, congratulations on the album, Peace and Hair Grease. Couple things coming up. I'll just say, like I said, we did a whole review of Jerry Only's Anti-Hero for 2 fucking hours. I'm kind of done. This is my last live show for the rest of the week. I think I'm going to take the load off. I've got all sorts of little things popping up. I just finished, for those of you out there, I just finished Eerie Von Part 4, where we really dive into, and this will be public on YouTube eventually for everybody, but first it's going to the Patreons and the YouTube members. And we start talking about Sam Hain. We talk actually a lot of stuff I forgot. I was kind of glad that it's nice to sift back through the conversation because I actually kind of forgot a lot of the stuff we talked about. And so it's like I'm listening as a person who loves fucking Erie Von. I'm listening to it for the first time. We got a very special contribution from Riot Stickers. Good job, guys. Riot, thank you so much. Much appreciated for the support. And yeah, so that is coming up. The Erie Von is coming up, and also we got more Lodi files coming up. We got I have some great ideas for live shows. I've got interviews lined up, like new interviews lined up. Rue's been digging the Erie interviews and stuff. If you want to listen to parts 2 and 3, you have to be a Patreon or a YouTube member. It's not going to be on YouTube. I know that sucks, but in the same way that Robby puts tracks on the vinyl that he doesn't have on the CD. Why do you do that, Robby? What's the point?
So people support, they're interested.
There's an incentive. There has to be an incentive. I get shit all the time from jabrones who are like, where's you said part 2 and 3 are coming. I'm like, dude, it's up there. If you want to see it, you gotta, go behind the wall, man. Like, come on. It's like, hours and hours and hours I talk on here. Like, if you want to see some of the stuff. So it's a good incentive, and the best part about it is because it's like 5 hours of conversation or whatever, you don't need to hear parts 2 and 3 to enjoy the conversation. But if you just want to hear the full conversation, if you want to hear Erie talking about the Misfits, you got to go to parts 2 and 3. And that's the way it works. Robby, stick around for 2.5 minutes while I do the Patreon thing. Gentlemen, thank you all again. Ride Stickers, thank you again for the support. Again, pick up Dripping Red. Link is in the comments. Bandcamp. One time at Bandcamp, right, Dagger? One time at Bandcamp. Peace and air grease, everybody. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for a wonderful show. Patreon.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jeff. So I've decided to make a Patreon. What is Patreon? I don't know how to define a Patreon. Let me look it up. Patreon is a membership platform that makes it very easy for creators to get paid for the things that they're already creating. I want to do it full time. I want this to be my full-time job. In my efforts to make that happen, I've set up this platform. Is it going to work? Is it going to be successful? I don't know, but I would rather try and crash and burn than not try at all. The goal is to create enough passive revenue so that I can continue to do this full-time, uninterrupted. Why? Because I love to do this. I love creating content. I love making videos. I love shooting films. I love doing podcasts. In case you couldn't tell, I love to talk and I never shut the fuck up. So right now I've kept the Patreon incredibly simple. There's 2 tiers, and that may change in the future. The Murdergram is a simple way to extend support for all of the hours and hours of free content on the channel for nothing more than $1. 38 cents goes to Patreon. What's $1.38, eh? It's less than a cup of coffee, but it's a great way that you can show support for very little effort. When you divide that $1.38 by the hours and hours and hours of time spent listening to this endless drivel of content, the dollar cost average works out. Next up is the YouTube Casualty for $6.66. The YouTube Casualty is loaded to the gills. Enjoy the archive ad-free, as well as ad-free early access to special docu-style podcast videos, music reaction commentaries, and the like, a month before they drop on YouTube, loaded with ads, I might add. You're also going to get exclusive content and behind-the-scenes content that is not available on YouTube or anywhere else. So you get to peek behind the veil. And believe me, there's a couple of choice pieces. Most of all, more than anything, whether you join the Patreon or not, I just want to thank each and every one of you that comes to the channel, that watches all the shows, that leaves comments, that participates, that subscribes. That's really the most important thing. This is just trying to find a way to earn a living as an artist. And with that, thank you for my TED Talk. Join the Patreon, because we need you!
66 cents.